Hey Landon, it's Mike coming at you from Paducah. We have our official opening night here. We did a soft. We're still not officially open. We have some previews in San Francisco next week, and then the week after that we're officially open and calling those shows full meal deal shows. So yeah, I apologize for maybe some of the organization of this lesson because I'm a little bit fried. We've been pulling like 16-hour days a lot this week, basically since Black Friday, where I traveled for about 12 hours, and then I had a 3-hour rehearsal until 10 p.m. and it's been constantly since. So I'm just going to kind of start with some. I'm going to start with Peg because I mentioned that in the email. Peg by Steely Dan off Asia, and I'm going to show you the chords, and that's going to sort of tie into a couple of the things that you mentioned in your email. Functional harmony, substitutions, and inversions. Particularly inversions on this song. So, okay, let's just start at the beginning. Let's start with the intro. So this is a fun intro to play, and also, like I think we mentioned in the while we were working on room 335, that I think that was Carlton's kind of response. He wanted to solo over similar changes or something. You'll recognize the voicings when we get to the verse. But the intro, so there's only 2 different voicings that we're going to do for the intro, and we just kind of sort of cycle through them back and forth. So the first one is a G major 9. So first finger, 10th fret of the A string, second finger, 10th fret of the A string, first finger, 9th fret of the D, pinky, 11th fret of the G, and third finger, 10th fret of the B, and just those middle 4 strings. All right, that's a G major 9, root 3rd, major 7th, 9th. The second voicing you'll recognize right away is 7 sharp 9, purple haze chord. So second finger gets 9th fret of the A, first finger gets 8th fret of the D, third finger gets 9th fret of the G, pinky gets 10th fret of the B. For this intro, we're staying on the middle 4 strings. F sharp, 7 sharp 9. So G major 9 to F sharp 7 sharp 9. You'll notice these 2 fingers just slide down this way, half step, and these 2 fingers do a little swap. They swap what strings they're on. They stay on the same fret, but they just swap. The pinky moves from the G to the B, and the ring finger moves from the B to the G. All right. So then we just do the same thing. We just walk that down. So major 9, 7 sharp 9, then F major 9, and then E 7 sharp 9, and then E flat major 9, and then D 7 sharp 9, and then there's a saxophone section that goes. All right, so. Okay, now this is where we get into the 335, room 335 part. I know we were playing these on with the root, with the lower note on the 6th string. I think it's a little better to play that on the highest 5 strings, because we're going to have to move these shapes pretty high up the neck. They'll end up being pretty dang high if you have the low note on the 6th string. So just a practical concern there. So the first voicing is a C major 7, which you probably already know. Root 5, major 7th, 3rd, and then another high 5th there. And then we're going straight to, I do this with 5 fingers because we're not going to play anything on the D, and you don't really want to bar, because barring will, you don't want to bar across the 7th fret because you don't want to play anything on that note. If you play that E there, it gets too muddy down here in the lower part of the chord. So, I'm sorry, I just contradicted my own self, so here we go. Okay, that's going to be the pattern for the verse. The whole verse is just going to be transpositions of those two voicings. So, tying into inversions, I've seen people describe this chord as some kind of like a B minor 7 with a raised 5th, or a flatted 13th even. That's pretty convoluted. I hear this song in the key of G, which is actually the first note, the first chord of the intro, and I just see the C major 7, even though that's the first chord of the verse. I see that as 4, the 4 chord, right? C being the 4th of G. So I see this as just like an embellishment of the 1 chord, but the bass line, if you listen to the bass line, a lot of times he's just going down to that B. Sometimes he'll play the G, but a lot of times he's just going down to the B. But that root note is on there up high. It's still prominent. So an inversion is when it's there's a note other than the root of the chord that's in the bass. So that's one of the main reasons to use an inversion as a composer, is to, if you want to have a bass line that moves stepwise instead of in a bigger leap. We're just kind of, you know what I mean? Instead of, right? It's a subtle difference, but music is a lot of music is about subtlety. So sometimes if I'm barring that voicing, by the way, it's because I'm playing with my fingers, so I'm not really in danger of, I'm not plucking the D, so I'm not really in danger of having that note ring out. Okay, so yeah, an inversion is when there's like the third is in the bass of the chord. So the C to my ear is acting like the 4 chord, like an embellishment of this chord. Even though you play it first, we're landing on this chord. So another example of that, like, let's simplify the harmony and that's the same kind of deal. We've got a little groove in G. And I'm just, the C is acting like a little decoration of the G. Cool? So the thing, moving on, the thing about Peg is the verse is a blues. If you think of this as the 1 chord, G, with a little embellishment, so we go, like, it's a really basic blues. It's just a 1-4-5 blues. So if we're thinking in G, so then the next chord would be a C, because we go up to the 4 chord in a blues, right? In the middle 4 measures. So, and remember, our 1 chord is an inversion. That's the third is in the bass. So we want to go 4 of the 4 chord, right? We've gone 4 of the 1 chord, and the 1 chord is an inversion with the third in the bass, right? C, some kind, C major 7 to G, I call it G add 2 over B, so that B is in the bass. So that's 4 to 1. So now we're going to go 4 of the 4 chord. So we need to go 4 of C, right? Because C is the 4 in the key of G. So that would be F to G, or sorry, F major 7 to C add 2 over E, because E is the third of C, and we're keeping that. So basically, you just move those same 2 voicings up to the 8th fret, right? Boop, 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 boop. The turnaround goes 5, and a really basic like Chicago blues, the turnaround goes 5, 4, 1. And that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to go 4 of 5, because we've done 4 of 1, we've done 4 of 4, and now we're going to do 4 of 5, okay? So thinking in the key of G still, our 5 chord is going to be a D, because D is the 5 of G. We're going to do 4 of D, which is G, interestingly enough. So we're up here at the 10th fret. So I'm going to go G major 7, same two voicings. G major 7 to D add 2 over F sharp being the third of the D chord, which is 5 in this key, the key of G. And then back to the 4 chord, 4 of 4. And then there's the 4 chord, first inversion with the third of that chord in the bass. And then back to the 1 chord. Okay, so let me just play through the that whole verse. Trying to think if I need to explain anything a little bit better. So yeah, the pattern is 4. We're doing a blues, and obviously in a blues, this is the cool part about Steely Dan. Most of the time in a blues, the quality, that is like the type of chord that the 1, 4, 5 are usually a dominant 7 instead of a major 7. So they've changed the quality too. So they keep sort of the overall skeleton of the blues for this verse progression, but they changed the quality of the chords, and they also are embellishing each chord with the corresponding 4 chord, and they're playing each chord, each sort of landmark chord of the blues as an inversion. So here's, obviously this would be more like a right? That would be more like a blues, but we changed the quality from this sound to a little more of an ambiguous sound by, instead of playing the chords in root position, we put the third in the bass, which is an inversion, and we make the quality of the chord, they call this the mu chord, M-U. I don't know why they call it that. There's a bunch of little inside jokes between Walter Becker and Donald Fagen, because they went to college together. But it's a built-in fourth, the top of that. They call this the mu voicing. So this is the root, G, and we have the 5th, and then the 9th, or the 2nd, the add 2. Right? A. So that's a whole step higher than the root. And then in the bass is the 3rd. And then they're embellishing that by playing the 4 chord, which is and they're making that chord a major 7, which is more diatonic to like a G major scale than a G blues scale, or what you'd hear on a blues, or a G mixolydian. Which you'd also hear on a blues. So they're kind of being sneaky with it. It sounds, the progression has a familiar structure, because the blues is, everybody knows the blues, but they're disguising it a little bit by changing the chord quality, putting chords in inversions, and so on. So let me just play through the verse here. So then we move to I guess the chorus, because you know they start saying the name of the song, right? Peg. So the chords here are peg. What's that? The chords. The chords of the chorus, they start out exactly the same way. So the first two chords are so that's easy. That's an interesting thing to do too. The groove changes up. The bass player goes to slap, and the drum groove changes, and then also the vocals change. Peg, right? And then the next two voicings are kind of interesting. So that's 5th fret on the D, 5th fret on the G, and the second finger isn't going to do anything, and then 3rd fret on the B, and the bass note. I don't think Walter Becker really plays anything else, but the notes that the bass player is playing would be A over this chord. So I think you know this A minor 11 voicing. And then we just scoot it up 2 frets. So we're on the 7th and 5th fret. So for the A minor 11, just hitting the open A and then the open E. And then this is sort of a E minor 11. Interestingly enough, even though same structure, even though we're not moving a 5th up, right? Because usually to go from an A chord to an E chord with the same structure, you would have to move the voicing up a 5th. So what's happening here is it's just kind of the way you analyze these chords. So in this chord, the A minor 11, we have I'm playing the open A, which is the root of the chord, and that would be covered by the bass guitar. And then here we have this minor 7th, minor 3rd, and the 11th or 4th. And then when we scoot this up, we would have the E, which the bass player is playing, and then we would have the 4th or the 11th, which is the A there on the 7th fret, then the minor 7th, which is the D on the 7th fret of the G, and then another root on top. There's no 3rd in this voicing, but it's being sung in the lyrics. Back to you, back to... That would... So the composite of everyone playing together and everyone singing together gives the quality of that chord. So not everybody has to be giving all the information, the harmonic information. We can all do our own little jobs, and the composite sound of everyone playing together will kind of flesh out the harmony. So here's the first part of the chorus. Peg back to you, right? Or that's that. Does that 2 times, and then we go up here. We go. This is where another inversion This time we're talking about just inversions on the guitar. I can't remember. I think the bass player does play a C sharp, which is the third of this chord. So we're playing an A chord. So this is get your caged brain going. Right? I kind of look at this as the top part of a D. So here would be the root, and then we scoot it all the way up so that the second finger is playing an A on the 10th fret of the B, and then we're grabbing another third on the 11th fret of the D. Right? Then we go down to a C chord, root on the high E, so like an F shape. Right? And then we go to a G chord, so root on the 10th fret of the A, and I'm looking at that as like that C shape. Right? So far, A over C sharp, which is an inversion, to C, G. Now we're going to go to a 7th chord, F sharp 7, and that's just, a C7 shape, root on the 9th fret of the A string. So, okay, and here's how I sort of think they came about doing this is this chord, this A chord, has specifically A over C sharp. There's like kind of a famous ending, just like a multi-purpose ending that people play on jazz. As a jazz player, you just have to know 15 different ways to end songs, because you don't always plan that out in advance. So if you hear somebody starting and ending, you can catch that real quick and hop on that train. So I think they're kind of hearkening back to that ending, which goes, because why would you start on the tritone of the key? I think it goes down to sort of hearing a variation on that ending, which goes like this. So let me establish the key, G major. So just kind of establishing the key in your ear. And then so I think that's why they were starting on that C major chord. Then they just changed the quality of it, the type of chord that it was, just like they did with the blues progression. So, right? And then now we're back to, that kind of harkens back to that ending. And then the next chord is the 1 chord of our key, which is G major. And then we're going to F sharp 7, which is, F sharp is 5 of that chord, and which is B. We're going to go F sharp 7. We're just going to go down the circle of fifths until we get back to G. Right? So F sharp 7. So you can bar. I'm just doing B and then the D, G, and B strings barred at the 7th fret, everything on the 7th fret. Nothing on the A or the high E. Which is 5 of, gonna play Purple Haze, E7, sharp 9, and then same voicing we just played on the B minor, A minor 7, and then we're gonna do a C sus, or you can also look at this as a D sus, sorry. Look at this as a C triad over D, or you can look at it as a G9 with a sus, right? Usually this is how we play a 9, right? We're just getting rid of this third and making it a fourth, so you could do that, but we're gonna also scoot it up an octave, so we're moving it from here up to here. All right, and then we're back to our 1 chord, but we precede it with its 4 chord, right? So we're just kind of trying to trace the musical logic through this chord progression. I'll just play it again for you from the chorus. Sorry. A minor 11 to E minor 11. A over C sharp, C, G triad over F sharp 7, B minor 7, E7 sharp 9, A minor 7, D9 sus. Back to our 1 chord, 5 of 1, but we're gonna 4-1. So, okay, there's a little couple of chords that's like a little transition between verses, or like a little transition before they go back and repeat the intro, and that is just F sharp minor 7. So the same, you've already seen those voicings on B and A. So F sharp minor 7, then we're going to scoot that up to B, and then we're going to play E minor 11, so that's barring across the 7th fret on the A, D, and G strings, playing a G on top, and then we're going to go back to B minor 7, and then these top notes are important because those are kind of like little melody notes. Right. And then the last chord of that little section is a C major 7, which you already know. Root on the 8th fret. Then back to the intro. Okay, so to recap, inversions, you already saw how we kind of did some inversions. We've got A over C sharp, so that's an A chord with a C sharp in the bass, and that allows us to keep a note that's not the root of the chord in the bass, so that our bass line moves more by step instead of by leap. Because this is what it would sound like if we did if I put an A in the bass, so just root position and not inverted chord. It's a little more dramatic to do, you know, that's a leap. The bass line ends up being a little jagged, a little angular, which is, you know, it's fine to do that, but these guys wanted to smooth it out, right? So we're not really doing minor second interval there, and then a major third interval, and then another minor second, and then we start going to the circle of fifths, right? So that's one of the main reasons to have an inverted chord, is to make the bass line move a little smoother. On the guitar, inversions are used for the same way, so that we're not constantly like leaping back up and down, you know, the fretboard. You know, there's stylistic reasons to jump around a little bit if you want to. And pragmatic reasons too, like the guitar is a weird instrument. You can't always, there's not always something right next to you. Particularly, you know, when you start doing borrowed chords from other keys, say you're in a friendly key like G, and then you start borrowing chords maybe from the G minor, like maybe you want to play an E flat, you know. Doing this all night long might be really tiring, you know, so you might have to, you've got to balance out those concerns, smoothness of the chord voice leading, but also, are you gonna be able to play your whole set from a technical standpoint without getting really tired and, you know, potentially injuring yourself? So that's what I have to say on inversions. So an inversion, the definition of an inversion is just when a chord doesn't have the root in the bass. So yeah, some other examples are like, you see this a lot in rock guitar, especially acoustic guitar playing. There's an inversion like G going down to D over F sharp, something like that. So basically why we did that is so we could have a melodic bass line instead of going and then on the guitar, when we're in a group, an inversion just kind of helps us to also play more smoothly, you know. If you've got a bass player in your band, there's no real reason that you also have to play roots in your all your chords if that job is being taken care of by another person. So you know, little things like that. That's like D, little 3-note voicings. That's like a D, 7th fret, barring across the D, G, and B strings. So the 5th of the chord is in the bass. The A is the lowest note of this voicing. And then I'm hammering on 7th fret of the, or 9th fret of the D, and 8th fret of the B, keeping the middle D the same. That's a G chord that's in first inversion. So D, second inversion, fifth in the bass. G, first inversion, third in the bass. So it's just more smooth to play than going something like that. Okay, I hope this has been helpful to you. One quick thing on tritone substitutions and substitutions in general, and then we can cover that more in depth next time. I've got to get going to the show soon. So a tritone substitution, just for an example, say we're moving from an E7 chord to a chord, so we have a 5-1 relationship. 5-1, if this is our key. So a tritone substitution, say we're playing these voicings. We're going root of the E7 chord, third of the E7 chord, seventh. So, and then resolving to A, the root and the third of the A. So the seventh of the E moves up to the root, and the third of the E moves up to the root of the A. The G sharp moves up to the A. And then the seventh of the E moves down a half step to the third of the A. So a tritone substitution is when you instead of playing an E right there, you play a B flat, which is the tritone of E. But you keep the other two notes the same. Right? And again, just like the inversion thing, the idea is that our bass line is a little more tense. It's out of the key now, that tritone of E, but it also moves smoother. It's less distance to go from B flat to A than it is to go from E to A. And the other notes of the chord still do their jobs. So here's like the conventional way, and here's the tritone substitution. That's the idea. And that's sort of the basis for doing other kinds of substitutions too. There's like a musical job to do, or a musical destination to get there, and you just take a different street, so to speak. There's like road work going on. You can't take the normal street, and you have to get there a different way. Cool, man. Hopefully this is enough info for you to chew on, and I will see you, talk to you soon. All right, bud.